Who am I?
A nigga with a bum ass show.
No. All right, everybody. This is another R&P video.
We're bringing with a stupid ass.
You got bum ass. No, you're terrible. We're bringing you our expert, and we mean expert analysis on the greatest MCU show.
Insert the old brother. This guy's
since Loki season 2.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Wonderman. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'm your host, Rick.
That's why this is shit like this is why they only give us a month.
I'm your host, Rick.
Exactly why.
This is my co-host, Plax.
Hi, guys.
And we make R&P.
Yes, we do.
So we watched, just for you guys, and because we want to, we watched all 8 episodes of Wonderman.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here to give you our expert analysis on the series, as well as our predictions on how this may affect the MCU as a whole.
Spoiler alert, it won't.
That's not true at all. But I guess without further ado,
let's get into it.
So I wanted to ask you, just as an overview. No, before anything else, just as an overview. I know you're a little tougher on this show than I am. By a little, I mean a lot. But before we get into our deep dive analysis, off the bat, just want to know, out of 10.
4.5.
4.5. Okay. I'm a 7. I'm a 7 out of 10.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a wide range between the two. That's a crazy spread there. Okay, so you find it you said 4.5. 4.5. I got it at 7 even. All right. So first thing, we'll start with, how do you feel about the main character? How do you feel about Simon Williams? That's his name, right? Williams?
Yeah, Simon Williams.
Strange name for a Haitian. Or at least maybe his dad was it. I think it's
Simon. Nah, Simon. They would go Simon.
I'm saying Williams. I feel like I don't know many Haitians. So
yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Simon, I feel like could be a Haitian name though. But
I know Chorus. It's the only Haitian I know.
Chorus. That's actually fire. That's a fire name. But so Simon Williams, the character, completely unlikable. But I did find out that was the point of Wonder Man. My only thing is he supposed to be unlikable to me, the viewer? Because I feel like a hero, I'm supposed to at least find something to like about him. Mm-hmm. There was nothing that I liked about Wonder Man at all. And I feel like if I don't like him at all, either he's a villain or it doesn't fucking matter. That's how, is he supposed to be unlikable to people around him, which that makes sense? Mm-hmm. Or is he supposed to be unlikable to me and people around him? If he's supposed to be unlikable to me, then he should be a villain then.
I think it's
which he can be. Wonder Man can be in the comics, but
yeah, he sometimes he is a villain. Yeah. Sometimes he is a hero. Sometimes he's an anti-hero. Yeah, it depends on when you catch him in his character.
Yeah, right.
My thing. This is how I feel about it. Right. Mm-hmm. I also thought he was he could be very unlikable at times, mm-hmm. but not in the bad guy unlikable, but just as
a person.
Yeah, and I don't even know.
I don't think he's an evil motherfucker or nothing like that. It's just his personality is just nothing there for me.
No, it's something there. It's someone who grew up in forced isolation, not because someone put him there, but because he put himself there. Because I guess after this point, we're getting into spoilers. Right. So right now, this is spoilers, but this right this second spoilers. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't seen it and you care about it, watch it all and then come back to us. Mm-hmm. Please come back to us. But so this is someone who we assume, because they haven't shown us anything different, has had powers from jump.
I don't know about from jump, because remember his mom, he got injured when he was a kid, and
in the kitchen fight. They never said
no. Before that, remember his mom was
on the bike. He scraped his knee.
Yeah, I feel like Wonder Man would just.
Well, maybe it kicks in at a certain point.
That's what I'm saying. I think.
But what I'm saying from jumping,
it wasn't
like an accident or something. As far as we know,
I believe he's a mutant. I feel like he's a mutant.
He could be a mutant,
Yeah.
but as far as we know, there's no spider bite,
No
no
toxic waste.
no toxic
Which we'll get
waste,
into later.
no shooting star or ancient amulet or anything like that. Like it seems like this is homegrown, something somewhere in his DNA unlocked, and boom, he has one of the craziest potential powers we've seen in the MCU since like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, for sure.
In the Scarlet Witch. And so once that happens, you can only live your life to a certain extent. We've seen in the show that when his emotions reach a certain threshold, his powers activate without him being able to control it.
Yeah.
And so with that, especially one as a kid and then growing up, especially because it seemed like he was already bullied to begin with, there's only so much he probably could have interacted with people before it became dangerous, not just because he didn't want to hurt them, but because he definitely didn't want people to know that he had powers.
Right.
So with that, you got someone who threw themselves into a passion, and he got a lot of antisocial behaviors, i.e., either not being able to tell or not caring about other people's emotional states, well-being, and or just like them as a person.
Right.
It shows that he can do that with select people.
Oh fuck! Is Wonder Man autistic?
I think there's a case.
He could be.
He could have Asperger's or something like that.
He on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah,
He's somewhere on the spectrum.
There's a case that can be made. I wouldn't throw it out the window.
Yeah, he could be. Okay.
But it shows that he can do that with certain people, like some of his family, like his mom, and then with Trevor. Yeah. And then with his agent as well. Like, there's some people where he can kind of be a normal, air quote, person.
Yeah, and build a relationship with them. Yeah.
And then we see what that's like when when he has interactions with people that he either is not able to or doesn't care to connect with. And you can kind of see, like, the habits he built. And that's what makes him unlikable. Like, first episode, just to paint the picture for the viewers who haven't seen it.
First episode.
The first episode wasn't ass to me, but I had to take breaks watching it because he made me so embarrassed watching it. Him doing the whole like over analyzing 3 lines in a script and like his whole thing, and he was in American Horror Story, right? So his character was going to die in there, but American Horror Story, the whole thing is an anthology. So like they bring back people that they kill in previous stories,
right? So he could have been brought.
He could have been in that for. If he would have, made a good impression for, however long. And he talked himself out of an opportunity. He had it. They liked him. They even took some of his suggestions, and he jumped out the window with it.
He went way too far.
Yeah, and I think
to the point it got uncomfortable.
Yes, it got super duper uncomfortable to have to see people try to navigate around someone who was
overdoing it.
Yeah, he was too passionate and not logical enough. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Like, passion is a good thing to have, especially in your career. But he had so much passion that he became a hindrance rather than an asset, and that just made it terrible to watch. One of the things I kind of put on here is he comes off pretentious. Yeah, like he even got to the point where he wanted to talk to the writer to see about changing dialogue because of subtext that he read in the script. Yes, that's crazy, especially for an actor. Yeah, especially for an actor who didn't seem like he was getting much traction. No, to have that kind of thought process.
He wasn't Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, you gotta be a little self-centered. Yes. You can't have that thought process and not be self-centered.
Which that's who Wonder Man is.
Yeah,
in the comics and stuff like that to a certain extent. But even that goes into a point that I'm gonna make later on. We didn't need this, but continue, Rick. Continue. I'll let you cook.
So this is where I don't understand how you felt about the first episode, right? Because I feel like it does the perfect thing a first episode is supposed to do. It gives you a kind of quick, not overview, but it gives you an idea of how the world works to an extent, like just the surface level of it. It gives you an idea of the character. We know the kind of person he seems to be. And it even gives the main conflict and the goal of what you could tell is the series in all the first episode in a way that doesn't feel shoehorned, doesn't feel cluttered.
Forced. No,
it all flows. Like he does the audition or not audition. He tries to do the scene for the show. He fucks it up. Has to go home. Goes home. His girlfriend is moving out. You kind of get the idea from this relationship that he's kind of how he is in all facets of life. And so he has to deal with that. Down on his luck, does what he loves to do, which is go to the movies. Happens to meet someone, and then gets a potential opportunity to audition for the part of his lifetime. And then the person who gives him that opportunity turns out to be a double agent or a traitor. Yeah, to him at least. And I feel like that sets up like a whole big thing because he doesn't know about the double agent aspect of it. He's still viewing this person as a potential like friend, not even a friend, like just
maybe even a mentor.
Yeah, a mentor.
All that is awesome,
and it all like tightens up there. So I don't understand what didn't you like about the first episode.
Well, the statement I'm about to make is a broad statement about the entire series, but it was thrown at me from the first episode on. If this was just a show that ABC made up on their own, or Disney or whoever made up on their own, that had no ties to anything else, and it was just a character, awesome. This is great. Great TV. An MCU show, fucking ass. Because what do we need any of this for? What we could have done was either gave Wonder Man 10 minutes in somebody else's better show or movie to explain who he is, or a 1 hour short film like they did with the Wolfman guy.
That was good.
That was good.
That was fire. He was cooking.
If you would have just gave me 1 hour to condense all of this rigmarole that you gave me, I feel like that would have done the trick. Or 10 minutes in somebody else's movie.
See, but this
would have done this.
This is where I understand what you're getting at and kind of where your problems lie with it. And this is my counter argument for it. Right? You feel like this didn't add anything to
the MCU
as a whole.
Besides introducing Wonder Man. But if we were going to just introduce Wonder Man, we could have did that in a smaller, condensed thing instead of doing all.
So what's the difference with this introduction than like Captain America 1 or Iron Man 1 or anything like that? Like what is it that you kind of were?
Captain America 1 was Captain America and Iron Man and all that were 2-hour films. They weren't.
They weren't serious. But I'm saying this is, but like the overarching thing we're kind of getting introduced here is not only the character Wonder Man, but kind of where the world is right now in the MCU.
You could have told me that in a clipping.
But that's the thing where
as far as the doorman shit, you could have had a news clipping or a news thing of the doorman clause because this person did this, and that would have done that.
Do you think Wonder Man...
A 60-second clip would have did that for me.
Do you think Wonder Man deserved a movie?
I think he deserved a 1 hour slot on Disney Plus. Because and I could be wrong, but as far as I understand based on the comics, Wonder Man's whole premise really is to help replace Vision and die. That's really his biggest thing. He dies and he replaces Vision. He dies 7 times in the comics. And the biggest thing he did was replace or help or whatever this shit with Vision.
Yeah.
If that's all this guy's gonna do, that's important, and I understand we need to tell that. But introduce him in Vision Quest. Introduce him in a 1 hour slot that people could decide, which you could decide to watch this if you want to or not as well. But we didn't need 8 episodes a whole trailers and all that. We could have got one trailer saying that this is coming out on February 6th or whatever. Check it out if you want to. You don't need to if you don't want to, because he's probably going to be in Vision Quest or something anyway. And we could have just went on about our day. Giving us you wasted money, production, and time doing all that. Which Disney got it, Big Mick got it. He got it. So it don't matter. That's what was the biggest thing for me. Acting was awesome.
Yeah.
Characters were cool as far as the characters they supposed to be playing was cool. Episode 4, which we'll get into, was a fucking masterpiece of some of the greatest shit I've ever seen the MCU do. But the entire time I'm thinking, this is unnecessary, and then certain things were just drawn out too long.
See, but this is what I don't understand about it, right? Well, this is a character we've not seen before. This is his introduction series. Right. So he has 8, it's a limited series, 8 episodes, 30 minutes a pop. Not an hour.
35. You got that.
Yeah.
No, it's 30 because the 5 minutes be credits.
Intro, outro.
Yeah.
30 minutes a pop, 8 episodes, so all in all, like 4 hours.
You don't think they could have condensed this into an hour special?
Not without leaving questions that you would have been upset that they would have had to answer in something else anyway. Not upset because you were fiending to know the answer for, but just things that could have neatly been explained if the runtime was a bit longer.
What could have been not said in an hour that needed to be said? Because like that scene of him being like so pretentious, too long. The ending scene of him, spoilers, him meeting a dude, going to the jail, and I'm meeting the family, all that shit, too fucking long. I didn't need 20 minutes for a jailbreak. No,
I feel like the jailbreak ties up. All right. I'll start from the top.
I'm sorry I'm jumping around. I'm just trying to explain my point as a whole.
Yes.
That all of this was unnecessary.
So I'll put my premise and then I'll break it down from there.
Okay.
I think this series would make a whole lot more sense to you if you think about it as a introduction comic run for a character. If each episode is an individual issue of a run that is solely to introduce this character.
But if you could introduce this character in one comic and it's blatant that you could do that, I'm going to say the same thing.
But it's not, but you can't.
Or not a comic. Give me one graphic novel and it's covered.
But you can't. But the thing is, you can't without explaining the rest of the world, right? So
if you're watching Wonder Man, you've been watching the MCU.
But you don't know.
I highly doubt there's a random person, unless you're just a fan of Yaya. There's not a random person that's never seen the MCU and they're starting with Wonder Man.
But I'm saying the option is that they can. That's what comic books do. Comic books they have runs that bleed into each other.
Right.
But they also have runs that are in the shared universe that can possibly tie into other stuff with the surrounding things, but that their own encapsulated stories.
But as much as the MCU and DC or whatever tries to emulate comics as best they can, that's not what it is. People are not good. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. I highly doubt somebody that's never, unless they're a fan of Yaya, someone that's never seen the MCU is starting with Wonder Man.
But that's the thing. You're thinking about it the wrong way. This isn't for someone who hasn't started the MCU. This is for someone who's fell off the MCU. This is for someone... Think about where the MCU is right now.
Even that, I don't think they tuned it into Wonder Man.
I'm not saying that
like if I haven't watched and then I'm coming back, I'm not starting with Wonder Man.
But I'm saying that you can't. I'm saying if this is how they start laying out the shows, it's like something like this: encapsulated stories, introducing characters, or having a character situation from start to finish being that story that doesn't bleed into something else like outrageously. Like, oh, to understand how this ends, you have to then watch the next show, But if you watch but if you watch this, stuff that you've seen in this show also appears in the other show in connecting ways.
Right.
Instead of it, like the MCU has always been point A, point B, and everything in between is like at least for the shows, have been like they kind of carry over,
and they can connect from time to time.
Same with kind of like the movies. They interconnect in certain ways, but they usually do it like the end credit scenes and stuff.
But Rick, even right there though, you could have explained Wonder Man's origin in somebody else's shit,
but they're not.
Or gave him 1 hour and still explained to me, oh, the doorman clause is because I really think the biggest thing in this was the doorman clause. No, to be real with you.
The reason why this all, in my eyes, had to come together like this is because the doorman clause doesn't carry weight without the reasoning of why it matters.
Does this give me a 35-minute doorman episode? But we don't need all of this.
But no, you do, because Simon is an actor, right?
Yes.
We know he has. You learn through it that he has abilities. Mm-hmm. He's hiding them. We don't exactly know why until he talks about the doorman clause and stuff like that, right? The doorman clause,
and then you explain it.
The doorman clause not only explains how that affects him personally, but it also explains how the world of the MCU is viewing powered individuals.
You could have told me that in an hour, is what I keep going back to.
No,
you couldn't have told me that in an hour.
Not in conjunction with Wonder Man's story, no. Not without it being episode. Like if this was a Wonder Man movie, or this was a Wonder Man hour special, and he brought up the doorman clause, and we seen, like you said, like a newspaper joint of something like flashing by showing Doorman, the dude who played Doorman, whatever, like hiding from the paparazzi, whatever, and it says like disgraced doorman, superpowers are being are running rampant or something like that. It wouldn't have had the same weight.
Or they got
either way, with how that played into the story, either way, you're dedicating a section of time to just that.
Right.
And then everything else you're working around it. So even if you did the hour Wonder Man special, Doorman would have to.
I'll take the hour Doorman.
Yeah, you would have to tack on another 35 to an additional hour to explain the Doorman situation.
You don't have to do that. You can explain that in 5 minutes, Rick.
You can't. Not in a way that matters. It's like if you introduce the Sokovia Accords in Civil War as just like the Sokovia Accords, and Tony Stark never explained why these matter, why the government bringing them up, who we affected. No, because think about like this. Imagine they brought up the Sokovia Accords and they never talked about the random kid that Tony Stark brought up. Remember the little black kid that he was like, he was going to be a doctor, and he had his whole life ahead of him, and he died in the whole. No, that we didn't need not one look at that to explain the Sokovia Accords.
How long did that take?
That was at least like 15 minutes. And that was just that section. That scene goes on longer.
The Sokovia Accord scene was 15 minutes?
Just him explaining it? Just him explaining that part with that kid, yeah, and then he goes even further with showing all the people who it affected in it. And even in that scene where he explains the Sokovia Accords, they continue to harp on it for the rest of the movie.
And you know what? I don't know if that was 15 minutes exactly, but I'll just agree with you that it was 15 minutes. The rest of Wonder Man is 45 minutes.
No,
I'm fine with that. Even if I was gonna say Hour Man, wrong series. If Doorman was, let's say we needed 15 minutes for Doorman, right? Let's just say that. The rest of Wonder Man is 45 minutes.
We jumped around.
I am 10 toes on that.
So we jumped around, right? If
yes, I'm sorry about
Doorman and Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm. Rick, I'm gonna let you do your thing. I'm sorry. I was just trying to explain my point.
It's fine.
You do your thing.
Fine.
I'm sorry.
So just to kind of give where we're at right now and what the argument is. Maybe we'll cut it up so it ends up differently.
Yeah.
But so Simon Williams is trying to be an actor.
Yes.
In doing so, we find out in fits of emotional distress, his powers activate. Mm-hmm. His powers are very destructive from what we see. We don't know exactly what they do, but they do a lot.
They're destructive, yeah. They're definitely powerful.
And we see him in situations where he either is forced to use them because of his poor emotional management or because his life is on the line. In doing so, we learn that the reason why he's hiding his powers isn't because he did something somewhere or anything like that, but because a situation happened in California, aka Hollywood, where a doorman, a bouncer at a club, got into some rock-solid chemicals and displayed powers that very much resemble Cloak from Cloak and Dagger. Like, very, very, like...
Time out real quick. Olivia Holt said she was down. If Cloak and Dagger are in the MCU, you don't have to cast. Call the nigga and call Olivia Holt and make them do it, bro.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Don't cast nobody else.
The whole episode's in black and white, which I also think is a Cloak and Dagger reference.
Mm-hmm.
The sludge he touches seemingly is black and look bottomless,
like Cloak's abilities.
When he touches it, he gets transported to what seems like a dark dimension with white doors that seem to give him like. It seemed like he was hearing voices, so that could have been people's hopes or entrances to people's minds.
And his boss at the club, a white woman.
That's funny. That's the true Cloak and Dagger. No, that's funny. And what we find out, a situation happened at the club where people were trapped while there was a fire, and he found out he could pass through solid objects, a la Kitty Pryde, and then pass people through said objects himself using his body as a doorway. And he's able to kind of like control it. They pass through, they get to the other side. He frees everybody, and then boom. With that, he gets opportunities because one of the people he said was a celebrity. Through that, he gets opportunities in Hollywood, basically being at first kind of like a superhero, not security guard, but kind of like a superhero getaway. Like kind of like a getaway car. Or superhuman. He wasn't a hero, really. He should have been. He should have locked in, really. So we see him kind of do that, and then he gets opportunities because he's in Hollywood to play himself and use his powers as a gimmick to get hired for stuff.
But also like that, he didn't really want to do that.
Yeah, kind of like an internet one-hit wonder, like how people would go viral and end up on Tosh.0. So it was that was kind of like what was happening. He was ended up in movies and stuff using the gimmick, and he falls off. And in doing so, his comeback film is a sequel to a film that he filmed like a while ago. And before they film, his powers seem to kind of like go a little haywire. He kind of has like a nightmare of the same dimension he's seen when he first awakened his abilities. And in doing so, when they were filming the movie and he was doing his own stunts where they were passing objects through him, for the movie, one of the actors goes through him like they normally would,
and they don't.
But he already looks sickly while each one is passing through, and they kind of do like a grumbling noise, which I think is hilarious. He passes through him. He throws up pure white. I'm not sure if that was because of the stylized of the episode, because it was all in black and white, or if he really threw up pure white energy, which would kind of work because. The reason Cloak and Dagger's powers work and don't work is because they kind of rely on each other. And that could have been like the backlash of it seems like him kind of like being like incomplete. The actor disappears for months and we still don't know where he is. I think I know where he is, but nobody else knows where he is. And with that, Hollywood creates a doorman clause, which is superpowered individuals can't be on Hollywood sets unless they have insurance, and the insurance
is ridiculous.
Yeah, superpowered beings is like basically unbudgetable. So even if you're not using your powers, you just being on set
is dangerous.
Is a liability. So you have to be insured. So basically, you'll never get a job if you have superpowers in Hollywood, right? And so that kind of shows, like they show that whole situation from start to finish.
Best episode in the entire series.
Yeah, that kind of explains why Simon has been one of the reasons why Simon's been hiding his abilities. Also, for me, why I was excited because it definitely shows that Cloak and Dagger is gonna be something in the MCU because one, the chemicals was from Roxxon. That's how Cloak and Dagger gets their abilities is from Roxxon.
And it is funny. Olivia Holt brought up the shit as soon as Wonderman came out.
Somebody tipped her off, probably.
Somebody was like, "Hey, put a little word out in the magazine
in the evening."
Yeah, put a little word out.
Yeah, shout out to Aubrey as well. I think I've seen him in something recently. I can't think what it was.
Well, drop it. We got something for you.
but that's one reason I was excited because we talked about Cloak and Dagger possibly being back with Thunderbolts because of the scenes with Sentry. If we haven't seen it. one of his seemingly additional abilities is he could put people in their fears using dark energy, which is a la Cloak.
Cloak, yeah.
Especially because they're all interconnected, and they're all dream based, so it's like a layers. So that's very much Cloak.
They do Doorman, Cloak, Sentry to a certain extent.
Void. Really.
Void, yeah, all get their powers from the same place, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe it was something like that. Yeah.
Something rocks.
The MCU might not do that, but that's in the comics. That's how it is.
Yeah. So that's why that episode really sticks out with us, and why we're having this conversation, because it was very much a standalone episode.
Yes,
it kind of adds an explanation to the clause, because it very much comes up very quickly in conversation, and it moves past, and then boom, we get it explained.
Yeah.
So the reason why I feel like this is a comic book, like this series is a comic book, and why I feel like this would be an entry point for some people who watched the MCU up until a certain point and then fell off, because the MCU very much has to acknowledge that its viewership has fallen off,
right?
And how people are viewing the MCU as a whole online has fallen off, whether it deserves it or doesn't, right? And I think, especially after they had to scrap the last storyline they had, which is Kang, I think this is them trying to kind of set the precedent of singular stories with connecting elements. So, i.e., explaining why Doorman, because the Doorman situation will not only apply to Hollywood. We already see how
apply to everything.
We already see how that situation, because they have the DODC, which is Department of Damage Control, which I think is hilarious. That they just did the DOD with a C, which Damage Control being a government agency is also hilarious, because they're a ragtag team of. I thought they showed up in She-Hulk, or no, that was the Wreckers.
The Damage Control was in No Way Home.
Yeah, they were in She-Hulk.
Okay.
So Damage Control being a government agency is hilarious to me, right? Makes sense for what they're doing with it, especially because S.H.I.E.L.D.'s not S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, it's S.W.O.R.D. So,
right, yeah.
So that's funny to me, but it makes sense. I'm viewing it as this is a comic book introduction for wonderman, not a one-issue introduction, but a comic run to explain wonderman and his place in the world, while also kind of showing you how things have changed in the MCU from the point most people probably seen it to now. So, Damage Control, the superhero prison that they created, the fact that the superhero prison doesn't have a lot of people in it, which would make sense because mutants aren't a thing.
Yeah,
most of the superpowered people are either Avengers, or they've died, or they're in hiding. So it would make sense of why there's not a lot of people in there. The government, or at least this branch of the government, the DODC, trying to basically railroad superpowered beings into the prison to prove to the government as a whole that they're worth the money, and basically bureaucracy and with like law enforcement with ticket quotas and stuff, and situations where we've seen in real life where judges are getting bribed by private prisons to pipeline like children and offenders into prisons and stuff like that. So it's like the MCU version of that, where they're trying to pipeline, it seems like, superpowered individuals into this to keep their jobs, basically. Right. So we know that's not just going to live in Wonder Man.
Right.
And we see how they kind of operate in Wonder Man. One, they're incompetent because they're under budgeted.
Very.
Two, they do have a facility that does exist, or God knows how many facilities they do have, but we know of one for sure, concretely.
Yeah.
And we kind of know like an agent in it. And I think the reason why Wonder Man kept that around it instead of having to be like a one-off thing or something, like we see the agent, we hear about it, and then we see it at the end, and that's pretty much it. The reason why we keep seeing it is to kind of show why they exist, but all the shit in the MCU is still going to happen anyway, because they're not S.H.I.E.L.D. They're not competent. They're not at the scene before it happens. They don't have a Nick Fury. They're damage control. Yeah. Shit is going to happen first.
And they trying to,
and then they come at the end. They're reactive, not proactive.
They're the cops.
Yes. And so,
But again, though,
yeah,
my point still stands, and I think people are gonna take me wrong on this. The acting, the story within itself, all that is fine.
mm-hmm.
We could have told that in an hour. I still, the doorman, the letting us know about the damage control shit, telling Wonder Man's story. We could have did that in 60 minutes.
I don't think we would,
and it would have been the same effect.
So
that's really my whole thing. That's why I'm saying it's ass, because it's 8 episodes of unnecessary shit that could have been condensed to 60 minutes. You could have saved money. You could have put money and effort towards something else instead of however long it took them to make Wonder Man.
I think
into 60
it could have been less.
60 minutes.
It could have been less than 8 episodes. I don't think it could have been 60 minutes. I think the Kovac audition scene or episode was too long. I can agree with you there, because that was to show character development for Simon, but it extended things for the sake of probably shock value and like misdirection. Mm-hmm. So that episode definitely could have either been shortened or combined into another like episode that was also cut in half or something like that. What else? The mother's birthday party needed to be there, because he was walking around the mother's birthday party as basically a double agent, trying to get information on Simon, learn stuff about him, and basically kind of get an idea of Simon's life, which he couldn't, because Simon didn't have a life. Before moving to Hollywood to follow his dreams, he was the outcast child, not because he wasn't loved, but because that's just everybody had their own things they had to deal with, and having a little boy with powers that erupt when he's emotionally upset, the best thing to do there is to just kind of let him be. Like, the more you interact and do everything there, the more chances of something going sideways. So they just kind of let him go through life. His mom even being like, one day he just thanked her for loving him, showed how basically lonely he was, because he felt like he was lucky that his mom loved him, because he didn't really have any interactions with other people.
For a character who is most likely just gonna die, or somebody just got blamed. I gotta put this on so I can move to a safer neighborhood. For a character that's either gonna die or be just a replacement or an assistant or whatever for Vision, we didn't need 8 episodes. You could have explained all of that in 60 minutes.
Yeah, but that's
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Wonder Man, because they got a high profile actor to play him. Maybe he'll.
And the MCU never follows comic books.
Yeah. So maybe he'll do more shit than just that. But from my experience and my understanding of Wonder Man, that's all he's gonna be. So if that's all he's gonna be, did we need 8 episodes for that? No. Now, if we find out later on down the road that Wonder Man is this key to just stop Galactus or like some crazy, or stop Doom or something like that, my bad. He should have got a movie at that
I just
point.
don't understand how you're okay with a Miss Marvel, but a Wonder Man is strange to you. Because I feel like the criticism would hang more on a Miss Marvel than it would on a Wonder Man.
At least Miss Marvel is connected to Captain Marvel, a Monica Rambeau, that plays into Monica Rambeau plays into the X-Men, because she fell into that void and all that stuff. That plays into more things than just a singular thing. Her amulet plays into a bigger thing. Wonder Man's whole thing is just Vision and dying.
I know what your problem is.
I feel like I've explained my problem.
Yeah, but I'm trying to kind of put it in a way to where I understand it, and maybe the people can understand it from like a broader view, right? Mm-hmm. And why it's not hate. This is just your opinion, how it feels, whatever.
I wanted it to be amazing,
but this is why I think it is amazing. You just had different expectations for it, or you just had different expectations for a Marvel project because of everything they've done before. The main consensus issue that most people had with the MCU post Endgame was they felt like you had to watch too much to make everything make sense. Like, you couldn't just sometimes watch a movie or watch a show without watching the previous show.
I personally didn't have
never had that problem.
I never had a problem.
So they're addressing a majority problem,
and that's why I don't like
correct.
it. Okay, I can see that.
That's where it makes sense.
I can see that.
Because they're treating Wonder Man like a standalone with connecting elements. So you don't feel like you're outside of the MCU.
But the thing is, though, I'm sorry to cut you off. The thing is, though, I'm fine with it to a certain extent being standalone. We didn't need, but 60 minutes would have did.
That's why you don't feel like they need 60 minutes because you felt like there's no reason for it to be 8 episodes long. If it's not connected to other stuff.
Yes, right.
Versus,
which it will because of all this, it will connect eventually.
Versus anything out, like you said, if this was an ABC, like if this
just
was
a regular
show, this would make sense.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that you gotta connect there is that they're no longer doing run times to make it make sense into the MCU as in like an interconnected story. They're doing it to expand a character so he could become more personable, more of a flushed out character.
Why would you use a nigga that's not personable? But
I think that's the perfect person to do it for because in the beginning, I felt like Wonder Man was pretentious because he cared about acting too much and he just had like that grandiose feeling for acting.
Right.
But then we learned that it's because
he was alone.
He was alone.
And
he was
this
bullied.
Was his thing.
But it also,
and we found out his dad really believed in him to do that.
But then we also learned because of the extended scenes and the additional episodes that just because we come to that realization doesn't mean that person gets character development in the same series. So usually when
we got that with Riri Williams.
Yes, but
she had less episodes.
Yes, but I'm saying with that one they were connecting everything to explain for Riri Williams,
right?
And then 2, they were adding an additional new element to the MCU, which was just like not new, but like they were adding like pure magic and extra dimensional beings. So there was.
Well, I'm saying the point of you don't always like at the end of the story there you could just be the same nigga.
But that's the thing. He wasn't the same. He just wasn't. They wanted to show incremental character development. Riri Williams went the opposite way.
Yeah, she did.
So you can't have too many episodes of her becoming not worse character, but a more morally ambiguous character without almost making her a villain. That's not what they wanted to give her a lower
and that
point
was 6 episodes
to go from. If they added anything more, they would have had to have her do something better. Or just resigned her to a villain
for now
role,
right?
And they probably didn't want you to hate Riri Williams going into the next project with her if they decided to do anything with her next. What else in the 6 episodes could they have done for her character that just wouldn't have made her a villain?
Yeah, because she was helping niggas hit stains and shit. She was basically a villain.
The only thing they could have did was have her. The next 2 episodes she turns a new leaf. You would have been like...
After selling her soul to...
You would have been like, what was the point of that? You would have sat there and been like, that would have been dumb.
Yeah,
so for him, they're setting the stage not to make him a hero, but we're seeing for the first time, or I guess we're seeing for the first time for a main character that's first being introduced, a more selfish being. Like we're seeing a normal person.
I'm here for me.
We're seeing a person with abilities wanting to be a normal person and doing things both good and bad to maintain that life, and also making the selfish decisions that will put his normal life in jeopardy because he feels like that's the right thing he should do, not because morally, but because that's his man's. And after what he did for him. He wanted to get him out of there, not because Simon Williams is a good person.
That's my
but he was like, that's my only friend.
Yeah,
and
I'm going to get him
out. He was willing to do that. Right. So he wasn't being a hero.
He sacrificed himself for me, so I'm going to go get him.
I'm going to put myself on the line for him, but not because I'm a hero, but because this is my man. This is like me getting powers. I do something dumb. You go to jail for it, and I get you out of it. I'm not now, superhero guy.
No.
I'm normal dude who just like, nah, you're not.
My man's not about to be in jail because I fucked up or whatever. Right.
And so that's why.
That's what that was.
That's what the incremental character development was. It wasn't to make him a good
character
person.
Development don't always got to be good.
It wasn't to make him a better person. It was just so it was just creating it was creating the situation where you understood how he got basically his first real human connection.
Rick, we could have did that in 62 minutes.
It wouldn't have felt the same. I feel like the world. I feel like flushing out the world in a way where we aren't beholden to the essence of the MCU is good storytelling. I think that's why a lot of people like this, because it felt like something that they could watch knowing nothing about the MCU.
Right. You could. Yeah.
And I feel like it was done in such a way, like we said, the acting is good.
Acting is great.
The story in itself,
it's cool. It's good.
It makes sense from beginning to end. You follow it. It has comedic moments in it. Not my cup of tea sometimes. With
it was all right.
It was new girlish in terms of the awkward funny. Like, awkward funny. Make you sitting in the awkward to deal with it, right? Mm-hmm. And it had the action moments and the drama. It had the whole. It even had like the tortured character having to like. The Mandarin in itself is a character that is one of the greatest MCU characters, non-superpower MCU characters to date. Like he might be above Nick Fury for me after this series.
Yeah, I don't doubt. Yeah,
but just seeing all that and then seeing a character life be expanded. Like usually we get bits and pieces of a character's life in the movies and the show. It was. You see a little bit of who they are before they are superheroes, but then once they become superheroes, that's what we're watching. We don't care about Tony Stark the person now.
Right.
We care about Iron Man.
Right.
We don't care about Steve Rogers the person. We care about Captain America, and then so on and so forth. The only time we get those personable moments is usually in the second films, like Black Widow. That was her first movie, but Black Widow has been
around the whole time,
and so they made a movie just about Black Widow's life.
Right?
Like before she became a Black Widow, after she became a Black Widow, how it was before she ended up dying.
I do agree with you in the sense of me, because I wasn't a guy that had a problem with everything connecting. That's the fucking point. Mm-hmm. To me, as a superhero fan and a comics fan, that's the point. All this shit's supposed to have some sort of connection. So when people was like, "Oh, why do I have to watch?" You just I'm sorry, I'm gonna rant for a second. For all the actual nerdy niggas out there, not the niggas that just started watching the MCU because it's cool or whatever when Iron Man came out. I'm not talking about the Avengers. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the niggas that read comics, know who Comic Historian is. I'm talking about actual. You might be a little musty sometimes. I'm talking about y'all.
I like
not
that.
us. Not us, but most people. Talking about y'all. If you really a nerdy motherfucker, you should be enjoying all of this shit. Even if it's like mid. There shouldn't have been a conversation of why do I have to watch all this stuff? We begged for this, bro. People forget we begged for this. The live action universe that you gotta watch this to understand this and connect to this and this person and this.
Yeah, the MCU doesn't cater to comic book fans because they know the comic book fans are gonna watch it regardless. It's catering towards the casuals.
Masses.
But the casuals like the MCU.
Are the niggas that's complaining.
Yeah, the casuals like the MCU so much that they don't become comic book fans. They become comic content fans. So they like MCU stuff. They like the MCU movies and some of the shows, and they like the DC movies and some of the shows.
Right.
But they don't read comics. They don't care about the back. Like they don't care about the backstory for not backstory. They don't care about like the comic runs that inspire this storyline in the MCU that will kind of like you can kind of guess the framework for the next movie based on this comic run because this happened. Likely
so
this has to happen.
So they're probably going to do this.
Yeah, they're not doing that. That's not the majority. They know those people are along for the ride regardless because this is like basically another comic book run. This isn't something new.
Right. And those are the people who were complaining about, why do I have to watch Echo to understand? Echo was also, that was trash. I don't think this was that bad. No, I don't think this was that bad. But I do agree with that in that sense that could be the reason why I don't like the show necessarily, but my opinion still stands. 60 minutes would have got this done.
Yeah.
Everything that you just described, I don't disagree with you with none of this stuff. You know what? 67 minutes. 67 minutes would have did it, and we didn't need all of this. Just for a kid. Now, the character, again, I could be wrong about Wonder Man, but I'm assuming he just gonna be Vision. If that's the case, we could have. This would have been better for a more important character if you were going to do that. A character that was actually going to have a bigger impact than just dying. I don't know who, I can't think of like who off the top of my head, but like it would have made more sense for a better
No, I
character.
feel like this would be like, even if they stick to how Wonder Man's like a situation ends, I feel like this is a perfect character to do it with, because one, there's no weight to it if it doesn't work out. Like, there's no, like, how could they decide to do something new or exciting with this character that we're expecting or used to.
That people want to see, right?
So, like, it's not like they're doing this for, like, a Miles Morales or like, you know, something with super anticipation. This is a character that people who aren't, like, unless you're a comic book fan, you probably don't even know a Wonder Man.
Which, to be real, I didn't really know much about. I knew who Wonder Man was, but I didn't know much about him anyway. I just knew he was an acting motherfucker.
Yeah, so if you're not a comic book fan, you don't know Wonder Man.
Right.
So there's only like a handful of people who would care about
invested. You're not
Yeah,
invested.
and so if it doesn't work out, it's like one of those, it's another MCU thing versus how could they do this to this character that I had so much hope. Like, imagine they tried to do something like this with like a Ghost Rider.
I think it would have made more sense to me.
No, it would. It would have,
because it would have made more sense
it would have made
to be 8 episodes.
No, but that's the thing. You're thinking about it from a character that you deem worthy enough for the frame. I'm talking about taking a leap with it and not it being like a
traditional Ghost Rider thing.
Yeah,
because Wonder Man don't have non-traditional. You don't care.
You do something out of the way with a Ghost Rider, you'll have people comparing it not only to comic stuff, but past movies, like the casual people who watch the Nicolas Cages
you might be
and the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Like, all that has so much
This is
media,
my Ghost Rider.
It has so much media expectations that it would basically
flop. And if Wonder Man flop, who cares? Okay. But even that, make it 60 minutes.
But that,
all right, y'all.
Yeah, but that really only works.
Make it 60 minutes. Then. If it don't matter, you're just fucking around.
No, but you're
make it 60 minutes.
But you're saying it should be 60 minutes because you deem this character not important enough to have that run. I'm saying the reason why they're giving this character this run is because he's not important. So to make people care about him, they have to make him personable. They have to make you have to get the viewer to sit with him through as many facets of his life as possible to get you to care about this character that you've never heard of before. Guardians of the Galaxy, perfect example.
They did that right.
Nobody cared about those characters ever.
Yeah.
If that movie flopped, it would just
wouldn't
be like,
matter. Yeah.
People, when that trailer first came out, they was like, "Who are the Guardians of the Galaxy?"
Right.
The only way to make people care about them is to force them to sit with these characters I've never seen, and to make it to where you see these characters, and as long as the story is good and the acting is good, the characters are charismatic, people will care about them. And I think that's what Wonder Man is trying to get off. Not the charismatic part, but
the difference between Wonder Man and the Guardians is you did that with Wonder Man, and I still don't give a fuck.
You don't. I'm saying, but people are. People are receiving this show well. You didn't give this show. You gave the show a fair shake in terms of watching it, but once it didn't.
I did say it was ass off the trailer. I did say that. I thought it was gonna be ass.
Once you've seen that the show was kind of like standalone-ish, you were like, what is the point of this show with this character that nobody knows? Why is he getting these episodes?
Right.
So at that point, once you made that decision, there was nothing this show could have did for you except drop all the Avengers in the last episode.
No.
But I'm saying that's
if it would have.
That's the only way you get what you're asking for is if the last three at the end. So if
it would have had Hulk in it,
yeah, or if 6, 7, and 8, he meets one of the Avengers with a Z, whether John Walker or Yelena or something like that, and they try to recruit. Like unless they added something like that in the last 3 episodes, you weren't gonna receive this show well for what you were kind of expecting out of an MCU project.
It would have still been ass. You
would have gave the additional 3 points if the last 3 episodes were dedicated to him joining the new Avengers.
Well, that wouldn't have made sense though at that point. Based on the first 3 episodes, it wouldn't have made sense. If you would have structured it to make sense,
it would have made sense because the last thing we seen for the Avengers with the Z were them trying to get marketing to kind of like, remember the brand deals and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah,
if they recruited the biggest movie star at the time, finding out he has powers, and now he's on the team, and they make him the mascot front runner. Because they can't use Sentry. Sentry is unusable. He is a glass case that you can't break.
Why? If they would have structured it to make sense from the beginning, that was.
Well, I don't understand how it works. The beginning is him wanting to be a movie star. If he becomes a movie star, especially in a franchise that him and his dad loves, and he gets blackmailed into being a part of the
because they know he
Avengers,
got powers.
He still gets to keep his fame, but he has to be real Wonder Man.
Get Rick in the right,
because that's not good.
That would have been fire.
No, because that's not good.
That would have been
That's
hard.
expected.
Hey, give me an episode 9. Come on.
No, that's expected. That's not good.
Give me an episode 9.
No, but I feel like this puts the MCU in a good spot where we are seeing.
How, Rick?
We're seeing.
Where was we at in the MCU? How?
That's the thing.
We didn't do anything.
We were nowhere. Now we have.
You just gave us news about a new law. Who gives a fuck?
We give a fuck because they're about to introduce a whole new spectrum of superpower
West
beings.
Coast Avengers, yeah, all that shit, right? Yeah.
Like the mutants are about to be
mutants,
here.
yeah.
So now we have an idea.
And they already being racist.
We already have an idea of. We have situations now where we're seeing, because that's the thing with how people were trying to like. How are the mutants going to be seen as the bad guys? But
they already are.
MCU is shown right now. Everybody who has powers, all the bad ones, in the dirt. They're getting put down left and right. There's not a lot of people with abilities who are bad that are being the recurring villain of the week, wreaking havoc on the daily. They're pretty much being put down, barring like
you still got Spider-Man, you still got all these people.
Everybody else, great publicity. Great, amazing publicity for anybody with abilities. Right now is running around the MCU. Now we have a situation in Hollywood where a whole actor has disappeared and we don't know where he is. And the last thing we seen was him jump into some dude's chest. And from there we now know that there seems to be a handful of superpowered beings that we have no idea of that has been moving around, and the agency who is on the hunt for any superpowered beings, whether they're actually bad or not, trying to put them away. You know who goes into the crossfire with that? Teenagers who powers activate in puberty, and it's a grab bag in terms of what level of danger and
the mutants just gonna start popping up, which that should seem like what's happening. Yeah. They're just popping up randomly.
They're gonna get funneled,
right?
Just like the kids in inner cities to the jail. They're gonna get funneled,
and that part is cool, right?
But we get that from Wonder Man.
Yes, we do. You could have shown me that.
See, but now
you could have shown me that in 60 minutes, Rick. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, bro.
I was just saying that this Wonder Man does expand on the MCU.
It does. Even
from a back door way.
Yeah. It might be later on that we see it.
Yes.
But it'll definitely later on come back to the doorman clause. Because it might go into jobs. Like you can't work at McDonald's.
An open-ended backdoor pilot for Cloak and Dagger as well.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay.
It does.
It does. Doorman is basically a backdoor pilot. Well, I said Doorman was the...
Yeah, I know.
You could have just dropped Doorman. And I would have been fine with that.
No.
Matter of fact, give Doorman 10 more minutes. 45 minutes of Doorman would have did it for me. or 60 minutes of Wonder Man with 10 minutes of Doorman. That's all I'm saying. Rick, that's where we disconnected. I didn't disagree with you on anything but the time. You right. But we could have did it in 67 minutes, man.
We need it.
And it would have been fine.
We needed at least 6 episodes.
Right.
I'll drop 2 of them down, but we needed 6.
How long is that? How long?
That's 3 hours.
67 minutes. 67 minutes and 5 of those being end credits.
No. All right, everybody. Y'all. This has been another R&B video. Let us know how you felt about Doorman.
See?
No, that was,
you know why? Because you don't give a fuck.
That was a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. Because he don't give a fuck.
No, it was a joke. Let us know how you felt about Wonder Man. Let us know.
Make Cloak and Dagger 22 episodes like on Freeform. Yeah. I want Cloak and Dagger to be 22 episodes.
Nah, that budget gonna go through the roof. It's gonna be 5. How many light daggers do you think she could throw an episode? You're gonna be throwing them bitches out like candy. But let us know how you felt about Wonder Man. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you feel the same way that Plax did? Or did you enjoy it like I did? What did you rate it out of 10, matter of fact? And are you excited to see more of Wonder Man in the expanded MCU? And at the end of the day, what do we do, Steve?
We love you guys, and I can't wait till Vision absorbed that nigga, because all this shit was a waste of time.
Which is funny, because he played Dr. Manhattan.
Which is basically
Vision. His Vision is just going to be Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. Shout out Yaya, he's great.
Great actor.
He's fucking great.
I loved everybody.
Oh yeah, and he's not gonna see this, but no disrespect to you. You are amazing.
No, it's too late. You're already on the not invite list. Well,
that's fine.
See ya. I liked it. You already know. Send them tickets to me.
What tickets, Rick? He's not gonna get on the big screen unless it's Doomsday. Who cares?
They might release the actual cut of Wonder Man.
Rick, he's gonna be on Vision.
They might release the actual cut of Wonder Man.
Rick, he's gonna be on Vision.
The in universe movie. They're gonna drop. They're gonna drop that for real.
He's gonna be on Vision Quest. Maybe Doomsday or Secret Wars.
Nah, we seen
that's the best.
We seen his powers. They need him.
Oh, they need him, but he don't. That's another thing. Wonder Man don't want to help them niggas. He want another movie. He don't care.
Nah, but
he don't care.
But the Mandarin Trevor he's gonna convince him to help sometimes. You guys see, he's like his moral compass, because he was gonna let that kid get shot.
He was.
When it was
Wait,
outside.
Was Trevor gonna let him get shot, or
no,
Wonder Man?
Wonder Man was. Remember, he was taking a phone call. He didn't care about what was going on.
But Trevor was fucking around, though. He said, you give me the thing, I'll help
but
you.
Then he was like, it was like, see, he's a sensible young man. Wants to give him a GoPro. He's like, you should go out there and help him. And then it all worked out in the end. But he's his conscience. Not a great one, but he's there.
Oh, like Agatha for Buddy.
Yeah.
All right, John. Peace out. Shit was ass.
R&P moves, R&P groove, ayy. Yeah, I've been in the R&P mood, ayy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, ayy. R&P moves, R&P news, ayy. Yeah, now we making R&P moves, ayy.